Okay, God, let me have it!
We are tonight's entertainment.
I promise you, when this is over, you can cry all you want, and I won't say a word.
So that kind of took care of things you guys really didn't like. I wish there was a little more organizational stuff going on with the actual objectives and stuff. If I came across cheaters, I'm not 100% sure they were actually cheating. I might not have been hitting them. I don't know.
Well, no, there was a lot of people cheating at that on the tan team. I do remember that. Because I remember the one time that I was in whatever store that was. It was the store right next to, like, the rotunda area, and it had the glass windows, the big glass windows.
It was almost like that jewelry store.
Something like that, yeah. And I took out a few of the tan across the way, and then the one guy comes walking this way around the glass into the store, and he aims his gun at me and says bang bang, although I've got my gun pointed at him and I'm pulling the trigger and my gun is going off, and he's like, I got you, you're dead. I'm like, I fucking got you first. He's like, no, I got you, so go, you're dead. I'm like, whatever. I don't like playing with cheaters.
I gotta say though, probably one of my highlights is I was up on the second floor and there was a tan guy down from me on the first floor, and my gun was partially malfunctioning, so instead of one shot, I put about 7 rounds right into his neck and it looked like he had a massive hickey.
Nice.
It was good times.
Bronicus also says, while I was really excited to play in the mall, the layout of the mall essentially funneled everyone on both teams into either main courtyard or trying to use main department stores. Sears ? It made it impossible to try to maneuver around the other team to get a flank or push the other team back. One side of the mall was also had several ways to get into the department store, while the other side didn't have anything, which at times made it feel like one side had a huge advantage.
Yep.
Tan team.
Yep.
Well, when we switched around the other side, though.
Yeah, but the tan already knew where all the access points and ways to get in were. It seemed like a lot of the green didn't have a clue.
It seemed like most of the tan people that had played, they played there previously. I don't know about the green people.
They were on the green team before, because a lot of them said they were on the green team the last time that they played there at the one prior to that one.
Oh, and here, yeah. I didn't care for the mini scenario of each team having like 10 guys hide in the department store on either side. It was virtually impossible for us to do anything about those guys, as they had like 10 guys covering 2 mall doorways, had lots of cover with complete darkness, with an extremely small chance of us actually hitting them. Numerous people on our team were complaining the other team was cheating. No refs went to the department store to watch them for whatever reason. Probably because it was dark and you can't see.
Well, I even called out a ref for a guy that was... You could tell his gun was way too hot, and the refs didn't care.
He says he wished he knew the layout of the back hallways. He said tunnels, but back hallways better. Had a hard time finding my way to some places. Some other people had played them all before. I had a little advantage because they knew where some things were. Which, if we go back, we're going to have that knowledge. I wish I had a good tactical flashlight. Didn't realize how many areas would be pitch black in the mall. I borrowed Sparrows. And that worked okay, but it fell off my gun. Yeah, it fell off your gun. And I couldn't find it. Well, Jesus. It's okay. It was like a $2 flashlight. So I ended up spending more time in areas with natural light. You know, I can't remember if I offered to pick him up a flashlight or not. I really can't remember. Overall, it sounded like he just wouldn't play there again at that specific location. Like I said, he's more of an outdoors playing kind of guy.
I guess some of the objectives were, I mean, to me seemed like they're a little one-sided also, where it's like you had to go find a magazine that had...
That's the mission I was most excited about. There's like, we had to go find the Prince magazine in the security office. I knew where the security office was. I knew how to get there from where we were.
Trying to get to it was impossible.
Getting it to the pants. Well, it wasn't impossible. Had we not all died when we got into that engagement with the guys that had the tracer fire, we were 500-600 feet from the office. All we had to do was go left down the hall where they were shooting at us from, through a set of doors, and the security office was right there. You go from like the concrete floor to a carpeted hallway, and that is right there on the left. I've been through that whole area once before.
Why they were hunkered down right there.
There was only the two. Had we not all died, we could have gotten it. But that was my favorite. That was the one that's like, oh, this is an objective I could actually do. So,
yeah, it's really funny about that hallway one is when they opened up the door and everything and started shooting at us. I had an inkling to just get on my hands and knees and start crawling down the hallway and taking them out that way.
it might have worked.
It probably would have.
Because I don't think at that point, I don't think they had their tack flashlights on. No, it's like, if you watch the video...
They didn't even have tack flashlights. We did.
I think I called it dark passages.
Yeah,
No, they did. One of them did. But when we were walking up the stairs, it's when you watch the footage...
We were being really loud. They heard us coming.
We were being really loud. And because I think it was Spaz, like, smacked his gun on the rail or something like that. With bong! I was just like, yep, they know we're here now. And sure as shit, we opened up that door and they were firing. And then one dude, he was firing in full auto, and he's like, oh, I didn't realize it was full auto. I was like, really? Because that's like a whole
Sometimes
extra
my
quarter
gun,
turn.
When I'm shooting my gun, sometimes I move my hands in just the right spot, and I turn my gun from semi-auto to auto. So it's a possibility that he hit it and didn't realize it.
Well, that and your gun and my gun were having problems anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't you guys running 11-1s?
Yep.
Didn't you and I, our guns, didn't they start shooting out 2 BBs
They were
at
shooting
once?
out 2 BBs at once because to get our velocity down to what they wanted them for, we had to put M90 springs in our Crytex. So there wasn't enough spring resistance there. What Dan was telling me was when we put the 11-1s in there, there was so much power that it forced the gun to cycle twice. Because I did the same thing with my gun, but I was using 7.4 LiPo batteries. You guys were using 11-1 LiPo batteries. I didn't have any issues like that. But no, if you put that weak of a spring in there, advice to whoever's listening to this, use a 7.4 or a 9.6. Don't use an 11-1 battery in there because it's too much power and your gun will double cycle.
That or spend the money and get a Gates trigger system, and then it'll take care of all of that.
After it catches on fire, not once, but twice.
It only caught on fire once, and it was the tech's fault.
What?
Well, after the mall event, I brought my gun into and then had the Gates trigger system put in. The tech didn't screw down the buffer tube all the way when I got my gun back, so I screwed the buffer tube in all the way, which they had a wire pinched under the buffer tube, so as soon as I plugged my battery in, it was like an instant short and basically fried my battery out, and I was blowing lipo smoke all over my house. Right before I was going on vacation.
But they did it in the store too, didn't they?
Then my wife brought my gun into the store because I had to work.
Mrs. Spaz.
And she told the guy not to plug a battery into this gun because it would short out and start on fire.
Oh no, don't plug that battery in there.
And Spoons is a fucking retard. But, so then we get our buddy screams like a girl.
Where's all the birds?
I don't have any.
He plugs in a battery into my gun and instantly starts the gun on fire in the store.
So not once, but twice.
And so they finally took my gun apart and they realized that they screwed up. And so now I got another Gates trigger system there that works phenomenally.
You think, because you haven't had it on field yet.
That fired it. That thing rips.
But overall, you know what? The most memorable stuff obviously was the stuff that we were doing at the hotel. Like that Saturday night, we all 4 of us jumped into the pool. I've just got I don't know whose noodles they were, but I'm just hanging there, letting my body just hang in the water. Like
that was funny. The next
to...
morning on Sunday, what the hell? You hung your clothes up in front of mine, and mine are still soaked with sweat.
Yeah, we hung our clothes up in the curtains in the room, and I go to where's my shirt? And I move Sparkle's shirt, and it's in front of mine. Like, oh great, now mine's just still all soaked.
The thing I want to know is what did the hotel people think as we're bringing airsoft guns in there, and we're sitting there working on our guns in the hotel room.
They were all cased though, and they they weren't in the hotel room.
The guns were.
Well, the guns were, yeah. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing against that. There's no rules.
But still, when you're walking into a place with long cases and doing
got some funny looks when I was walking through the hotel in my airsoft gear.
BDUs.
Yeah. That was funny.
All I know is next time I go back, I'm hoping it ain't 10,000 degrees in there.
Well, we
But-
go in February when it's a meat locker.
Which, when I took you to Big Lake when it was 25 degrees, you were too cold.
But I had the miracle of hot hands, which kept my feet nice and toasty warm, and my fingers nice and warm. So I was good to go.
I don't think you're gonna want to play at the mall when it's a meat locker. I'm not excited about it. I can handle heat better than I can handle cold. You know, that 95 degrees is, even though I was sweating my ass off and everything, and yeah, you know, but, yeah, I got a little bit of heat rash and everything.
Excuse me.
A little
Yeah, that
bit.
was funny.
Only a little bit.
Well,
I still handled that better than I can handle cold. I'm not even gonna talk about it. That's all getting taken out.
This stuff won't even come off when I wash my hands.
It wouldn't. Fuck. It didn't even work.
It's funny though.
We were just rolling on the floor laughing our asses off.
That's kind of the recap for the Milwaukee Mall event. I
Excuse
think
me.
it was, in general, worth it. Driving out there and playing Airsoft, you know, regardless as to whether or not people were cheating. And what, is it the picture on the screen?
It looks like a little kitty reaching down for the mouse. It looked like Sasquatch reaching down for something. Sorry.
I would totally be willing to go again. I'm not sure if I want to go in the winter, but we'll see if they run it again. So anyway, anyone else want to add anything? I'm Sparrow with Squirrel Team 6.
I'm Sparkles with Squirrel Team 6.
And this is Spaz.
And thanks for listening, and hope to see you guys on the field.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumb enough for having listened